Hi, everyone. Dr. Westman here. Thanks for chiming in. I can see most names on the side here and where you're from. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm talking to you from Durham, North Carolina, where I work at Duke University. And I'm just going to wait a couple minutes for more people to sign on live. And this is the third live workshop part. If you haven't seen the first two, you can go back and watch those. And this one is going to be kind of a philosophical night. It's going to be not a how to do keto or how to do low carb or fixing the minutiae of things, although we can help you with that. We'll have some exciting news to share with you at the end of tonight. So I'd like to just give kind of a big perspective view of lifestyle versus medication and my view of medical care that is typically given even at a place like Duke University. So this will be sort of a kind of philosophical look, and maybe have you step back and think about where you want to go down the road, making choices of where you want to go, and then consider that we can help you. And I'm busy 4 days a week in my office at Duke. We want to bring this information to you. That was the whole purpose of Adapt Your Life Academy, to allow people to get the information that you could only get at the clinic at Duke. So this is a way for us to share that with you. So what I'd like to do is pull up my slides, and so sit back and let me share a story and even read some poetry for you. That's something new I haven't done in a while. And then we'll end up with question and answers as usual at the end, and could be about any topic that we've touched. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Give me just a moment. So again, this is the free keto workshop, and I'm Dr. Eric Westman. The first part was on December 22nd, what you need to know before starting keto. The second part was on December 29. Part 2 was internet keto versus science-based keto, and what I teach is science-based, not internet-based. And then today is part 3, wrapping up kind of big picture view, step back. What about the medication treatment of things versus lifestyle treatment of things? And spoiler alert, I'm going to advocate toward lifestyle change, not medication care that so many people get today. So this is the medications versus lifestyle, and on behalf of Adapt Your Life, a company that I helped to start to get this information to people outside the Duke Clinic. It's my pleasure to give this lecture on behalf of Adapt Your Life and Adapt Your Life Academy. So step back for a minute, and I'd like to talk to you about a poem that I remember. You might even try to think back. That was me walking back in time and actually getting the poem. So I remember singing in choir, actually, to this song, to the song based on these lyrics. So Robert Frost writes, "Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that passing there, had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. You may be at a crossroads, thinking where to go, what to do next, and you might actually think you're going down the path where most people go. This now bringing the metaphor home to medication and lifestyle. Just about every other doctor I know uses medication to treat problems today. Some years ago, based on the research that we did and meeting other doctors who had chosen a different path, the lifestyle path, they knew that it wasn't going to be actually an easy path to go professionally, yet they saw how well their patients were doing. And so I learned from a lot of these doctors who were using lifestyle, not medication. Even saw some of these doctors get, how should I say, skewered in the press and be derided by their peers. And yet they came to their work knowing that their patients were getting better using lifestyle. So years ago, I was introduced to lifestyle by two of my patients and then started doing research on this. And now I've concluded after 20 years that lifestyle, the appropriate lifestyle matched for your metabolism, is much more powerful than any medication that our current medical system uses. And let me just give you some examples. So you might have had something like heartburn or reflux, esophagitis, or indigestion. You go to your doctor and you know they don't ask you what you eat and what you drink. And really, when was the last time the doctor you went to asked you what you ate or drank? I mean, more than just a cursory, what kind of diet do you follow? So it turns out that heartburn, one of the most common things that people go to the doctor for, is managed by prescription medicines or antacids, and actually can be fixed by a simple lifestyle change without medication. And a keto lifestyle will do that almost 100% within a week. It's pretty amazing. Now, high blood pressure, very common, and the doctors today are supposed to use lifestyle change. It's in all of the guidelines before using medication, but I don't know many of my peers who do use lifestyle. They say, well, my patients won't follow it, or it's too difficult. So what they do, and you may have already gone down this path to the right, the commonly well-lit path, commonly trodden path, and you get put on prescription medicines. So high blood pressure is managed by medications. It's not fixed. It's not, the underlying root cause is not being addressed, and lifestyle can fix that and address that. High cholesterol. How many of you have been told you have high cholesterol and you have to go on a medicine to treat the high cholesterol? Well, what about lifestyle? Remember? Yeah, actually lifestyle, and especially if you have weight to lose, excess weight, can fix high cholesterol. So most doctors, and me too, I was trained to follow a guideline that said a certain number on the cholesterol reading would lead me to prescribe you a drug, a medication for a cholesterol level, which to me now seems kind of silly. If you haven't already addressed lifestyle, that's the first thing that you should address before going on a medication for high cholesterol. Now, what I teach and what I've been using for a long time is known for overweight and obesity treatment, the low carb, high fat, LCHF or keto diet. But you might have been down this pathway to the right, the common today, you may have tried diet programs yourself. You may have subscribed to food subscriptions where they send you the food and then when it gets too expensive, you stop doing it, or you're adding on food to the food subscription because you can't control your eating. You might have been prescribed prescription medication for weight loss, and there are some now that are quite powerful that have lots of side effects, and sometimes they're downright expensive. And then finally, you may have been told you have to have weight loss surgery, or you've already had weight loss surgery and the weight is coming back. So those all are valid ways to go about things. It's the most common way that the medical world will teach you today in the US. I'm going to suggest to you that lifestyle, going down this less trodden path, is going to be better because you don't have to use all of these pills, products, all those sorts of things. It's just changing the food. So now the big type 2 diabetes, big in terms of healthcare costs and health problems, one of the leading causes of blindness and kidney failure and dialysis. It's sad for me to see people, healthcare systems put more money into dialysis centers to treat the kidney failure of diabetes instead of fixing the diabetes itself. But diabetes is managed, right? You may see someone to talk to you about diet, but the doctors are managing you with medications and might even tell you to eat more because now you're on medications. You might start with something called metformin. So if you're on metformin for prediabetes or diabetes, I'm afraid, and you're going down this pathway to the right, here's what unfortunately happens when you just manage diabetes. Then when the metformin stops working, you get put on medicines like Victoza or Byetta or Jardiance or Ozempic. And again, you're not fixing the underlying cause. You're getting treated with medication for the diabetes. And then once you're put on insulin is a medicine that makes you gain weight. If weight is a component of your diabetes, now you're going to be locked into having diabetes because you're going to be gaining weight once you're on insulin. Even though it lowers the blood sugar in the short run, it will, in the long run, make you gain more weight. It turns out that type 2 diabetes is perpetuated by the medical care once you get on a weight-gaining drug like insulin. And this is why you'll see doctors tell you that you'll have diabetes forever. On the upper right-hand side here, if your doctors are saying you're always going to have diabetes, this is because once you're on insulin, it's basically now locked in. And of course, if you then go to the weight loss surgeon, they stop all of the insulin on the first day after the operation. But remember, that's not the way I want you to go down that path. It's not a pretty ending around the corner there with diabetes. With the management of diabetes with medication is not a great way to go. And there are alternative ways like lifestyle change and the keto diet. So if these medicines would prevent all of these different problems, I'd say fine, but they don't prevent these problems. The complications of blindness, kidney dialysis, and amputations still happens. And if you know someone or have had a loved one with diabetes who've had these complications, you don't want to go down that path. So now we're way back at the crossroads. Don't even start down that path of the medication treatment for diabetes if you can help it. Choose a lifestyle that's prescription strength, like a keto diet, and you won't have to go down that pathway. So the bottom line there, I just added this little word at the bottom, adding carbs in there because you're allowed to eat carbs when you're down this well-trodden pathway of medical care. Remember how many times has the doctor asked you what you eat and drink? And I wonder if they've let you drink sugar for all these different past years when you've had diabetes. That is a real problem because drinking sugar will raise the blood sugar, and diabetes is a problem of elevated blood sugar. They should have told you years ago not to drink sugar. So this pathway to the right assumes you're going to be able to eat carbohydrates and will manage you with medications for diabetes. Not a great way to go. And I see many, many people in my office today who are on over 10 medicines for high blood pressure and diabetes. You add them all up. You add then medications for arthritis and for heartburn, and it becomes sort of a Gordian knot of medications to start to unravel. But that's what I do. But I hope you're not anywhere near down this pathway that far. If you are, you want to work with a doctor who knows how to take you off these medications. My point here is just to show you that the medication management of diabetes doesn't have a happy ending at the end. So I'm Dr. Eric Westman. I got started in keto research and keto medicine in 1998, followed the signal of a couple of my patients at the Durham Ambulatory Care Clinic in Durham, North Carolina, started doing research. And now I've published over 50 papers on keto diets, low carb, high fat. They're carbohydrate restricted is the term for the diet in the medical literature. I've practiced keto medicine at Duke since 2006. I'm past president of the largest group of medical weight loss doctors in the world called the Obesity Medicine Association. You may have seen me as a speaker on dietdoctor.com. That's my screenshot from one of the talks I've given. And I've been a contributor to Diet Doctor for a long time. I'm a big fan. My method's a little simpler, but anyway, it's a great resource. I'm a book author. End Your Carb Confusion, which came out this year. The New Atkins, 2010. Keto Clarity and Cholesterol Clarity, 2012 or so. And then I'm editor of a textbook that's used for doctors to train for the obesity medicine test. And that's the Obesity Essentials book on the right. I co-founded Adapt Your Life in 2014 to get this information to as many people as we can outside the Duke Clinic and worldwide. At the Duke Keto Medicine Clinic, I've estimated we've treated over 8,000 patients, and it's really kind of the clinic of last resort. I get patients with all sorts of medical issues, and to boil it down, I've learned the safe use of a keto diet, knowing when you have to have medical monitoring, when you don't need to have medical monitoring, and I've even treated people who are so sick, their heart doesn't work at all, and they've had heart pump implants into their chest. So that's a very complicated situation. You have to have special training in how to manage the heart failure, the anticoagulation. But so I want to give you the experience that I've had and just want to assure you that I know the safe use as best someone can, as we've started to embark on teaching through the internet over this past year. But the grounding that I've had is in a clinic setting for since 2006, and I'm still in the clinic today, knowing the latest pitfalls and things that trip people up. For example, on the internet, learning different things. I'll try to help you overcome those different things to make it work for you. So let's go back to, I just hung the terrible news about diabetes being managed. So first thing you have to know is diabetes is curable. And this is, 95% of type 2 diabetes, not 100%, but almost 100%. Type 2 diabetes, not type 1. Insulin deficiency is type 1. But for type 2, if you have obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, that's classically type 2. You have to understand that it's curable. And so what I first do is I teach you how not to eat carbs. Well, I really teach you how to eat great food without carbs. And so a great array of meat, poultry, fish, shellfish, eggs, surf and turf, one of my favorite things to have. And yes, I've been following this diet approach for about 20 years since our first studies, because I naturally gravitated toward these sorts of foods. And I was seeing the good results that my clinic patients and my study subjects were having. So you have to understand that diabetes is curable. And most people aren't told this when they're given the medical management of diabetes. Because remember, if you're using medication and you finally get on insulin, you always will have diabetes. It's a doctor facilitated problem because of the medications. So the first thing we do is start deprescribing. Deprescribing is the name for taking away medication, not adding it. And there are now several research groups and programs in the world that focus on deprescribing, teaching it, and one of them is led by a pharmacist in Vancouver, but it's not known by a lot of people. So we start deprescribing medicine. We take away insulin just as soon as we can, because insulin will thwart the weight loss. And you want to get off insulin with monitoring. Don't do this on your own. If you don't know what you're doing, do it with medical supervision. But then we start taking away these other medicines. The weight's coming down because you're not eating the carbs. I typically see 1 to 2 pounds of weight loss per week when things are going well. And then metformin goes away. Basically, when you don't eat carbs for this period of time, and it depends on where you start, it might be in a matter of months, it might be a matter of years. If you've had diabetes for 20 years, in fact, I've fixed some people's diabetes in 1 week, even though they've had it for 20 years, because no one taught them not to eat carbohydrates. That's kind of amazing to me when I see that, but that's what happens. But when you get down this pathway that's less well trodden, and you might feel like no one else is doing it, you're all alone. Well, we are a group where we know all about this. You won't be alone with us if you join us. We will help you, and we'll show you that in this world where there are no carbohydrates being eaten, there's no medication needed for diabetes. There's no diabetes. And even there's no pre-diabetes in this pathway when you aren't eating carbohydrates. And then, of course, overweight and obesity, the main thing people think about this way of eating for, is also fixed. So there's no diabetes, pre-diabetes, or obesity down at the end of this pathway when we teach you how not to eat carbohydrates and to be, eating great foods all along the way. So just to summarize, this is the kind of the last in this free keto workshop series. In my view, after 30 years now in the medical mainstream at Duke University, our current medical care, generalizing, is reactive. It relies on medications to manage medical problems. Our current medical care waits for you to have the medical problem and then put you on medicines or shots or surgeries. When was the last time your doctor asked you what you ate and drank? I do that every time, every visit. And it might even be a little bit of a pain, but it's going to get you to a goal that is pretty amazing. And after just a couple days, as you get started away from carbs, the hunger and the cravings go away. It's almost unbelievable. Now, in ancient Greece, our kind of father of medicine, Hippocrates, said, "Let food be thy medicine, and let medicine be thy food." And really, we're just doing that today as we use lifestyle instead of medications. So an alternative approach to the current medication-based medical care is to be proactive, to be preventative in how you're thinking about things. Focus on lifestyle to prevent and reverse medical problems, not wait for them to develop and to just use medications to treat them. And so this is kind of the kind of, if you were coming to my clinic for the first time and ask me what I did, I will focus on, I'm using food instead of medication. I have some show and tell items at the clinic that I'll pull out. The Banting Diet book, the first time a low carb diet was written about in 1863, called the Banting Diet. And I have a book from the 1923 time period where the textbook of medicine had this low carb diet as the treatment for type 2 diabetes. That's all they had. They didn't have medications. They only had diet, and they used the low carb keto diet to treat medical problems, including diabetes, in 1923, which is kind of amazing. I was just talking to someone today in the clinic about that, and it was kind of shocking to them. And he asked, well, how did this all get lost? And that's a whole nother story. If you read Good Calories, Bad Calories, The Big Fat Surprise, you don't need to know how it all got messed up. We'll help you understand what to do and help you get forward and with your medical issues, or stay away from the medical problems in a preventive way. Now, it's our great pleasure and exciting to announce today that we're opening the Keto Made Simple Masterclass. The reason we only open it in certain periods is we devote all of our energy in the company to help the new students get started. And what I'd like to do is just briefly describe the class, and also you can now type in questions. Be sure to put all caps questions, and we'll get to the questions in just a minute. I'll bring Liza on in just a moment. But I just have, to just sum up on the two roads. Remember, Robert Frost said that going down the path less traveled had made all the difference, right? So he was kind of looking back and sighing that. So hopefully you'll look at this and say, well, maybe I'll take a big sigh and go with these folks who know about the keto diet and go down this other path. We're here to help you. We want to help you along your journey just as best as we can. So again, it's our great pleasure to open the Keto Made Simple Masterclass. It's tried and tested, even if other diets have failed. Even if you've done a keto diet in the past, I'm finding that there's so many different versions of, quote, a keto diet, especially if you've learned from the internet, that we will help overcome just about every barrier. If it's expensive, if you're tired of buying things and counting things and using apps and keto monitors, we don't do any of that. So we simplify things. That's why it's called Keto Made Simple. Yet it's prescription strength. And the little secret for that, as I mentioned before in this workshop, is we use total carbs, not net carbs, as the counting mechanism. It's a little stronger. So it may help turn the corner and make things starting to work for you. What we teach prevents and reverses medical conditions rather than just manages them. It leads you down your own success path, so that we'll pick you up where you are, take you forward to where you want to be. The class itself includes video classes, me giving some lectures, the background and how to do the keto diet, how to have a mindset change, which is really an important thing as you are kind of undoing a lot of the things that you've learned before. There's a 3-week private support group to get you started or restarted with live question and answer sessions every 2 times a week, actually. I was going to say every week, but it's twice a week. And then, so open enrollment is now at the adaptyourlifeacademy.com. And it's only open for 5 days so that we can give 100% of our effort to our new class of students. So I'm really excited to share the news that the Keto Made Simple Masterclass is open now. So check it out, sign up, and join us as we help you make changes in your lifestyle. Great time of year to get started, New Year's resolutions, and we will keep you going where in the past you might have tried to get something started on your own. Let us help. It's like coming to a class, learning a system that really works. A metaphor I use is it's like teaching you to ride a bike. Once you learn to ride a bike, you don't need the teacher anymore. And so we'll be your teacher to get you started in the right direction. So give me just a moment to stop the screen sharing, and Liza, I'm going to bring you on. Thank you. So, hey, Liza.
Hi.
Let me just change this format. There we are. Welcome, team leader for the Adapt Your Life Academy, Liza Becker. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us. And happy to be here. Happy to have everybody here with us tonight. We're very excited that we have officially opened the 5th cohort today, kind of as we speak. So if you want to learn more about the course, and I will tell you a little bit more about it in a minute, but go to our website, which is adaptyourlifeacademy.com. And at the top of the page, you'll see that there's a Learn More button for the keto course. And click on that Learn More button, and you can see everything that you get in the 3-week keto course. What happens is we are open for enrollment just during, as Doc said, just during these 5 days from until through the 10th, through January 10th. And then once we close enrollment, we actually get started in a student-only Facebook group with Dr. Westman, with nutritionist Amy Berger, with our full team, and we in there in the trenches with you for a full 3 weeks. So it's February. It would actually be January 12 to February 2nd is the entire time that you guys would get in the support portion of the class. And then anytime over this enrollment period, the minute you purchase the course, and the course, by the way, we have not put the price up from the very beginning. We keep saying this is the last time we're doing the price at the original founding member price, which is at $167. We haven't put the price up because of the circumstances. We are still going through. A lot of people are really still struggling, through the pandemic, through COVID, through losing jobs. So we keep extending the original price sort of for one last time. And everything is available for you to see on our website. If you have any questions, feel free to email us. All the contact information, all the Q&A is available on our website. So let's start with, I'm just going to kind of randomly grab questions. And some questions will be course related. Some questions will be keto related or other. So I'm just going to kind of randomly go through the questions tonight, and then hopefully we'll be answering everybody's questions. So let's get started. Sherry says, my triglycerides and LDL, and again, this is in random order, guys, because our team is actually filling out the document as we speak. So it might be that this person's question is the most recent question seen, and that's why it's at the top of the page. So just in no particular order, my triglycerides and LDL are elevated on keto. Doc pushes statins. I've declined, but question that decision. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so one of the important things to realize is there's a different way to look at cholesterol levels when you're doing a keto diet, and most doctors are not aware of it. The triglyceride and LDL, as you mentioned, are important, but the HDL cholesterol is also important. So is the waist circumference and the blood pressure and the blood glucose. And so the new way of thinking of, and I go into this in the module in the masterclass, is called the Metabolic Syndrome. It's not just the cholesterol levels, it's also your waist circumference and these other elements. So in fact, you don't really want to treat or even check the cholesterol level as you're losing weight if you're losing weight. So I guess my two-part response is, if you're still losing weight, don't worry about your cholesterol levels. And the reason for that is that cholesterol can go up because you're losing weight. It's just a metabolic fact that can happen. And most doctors don't understand that. They just know there's a cholesterol number, they give it a drug. So then let's say you're at your goal, though, you want to make sure that you look at the metabolic syndrome, meaning the triglyceride, the HDL, your blood pressure, and your blood sugar. And I'm not so impressed with so if those are all good, the LDL itself is not very important. And that's another thing that most doctors don't know about. They're very focused on just that LDL number. And I give some background in that in the masterclass, hopefully to make people feel a little more comfortable on how you look at the blood in the new way.
Right. Yeah, because if you guys were with us for the last free masterclass session, which was last Wednesday, Dr. Westman spoke about internet keto versus science-based keto. And unfortunately, there is so much confusion out there on the internet. There are groups that have hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people in these groups. And unfortunately, they are struggling to lose weight and can't understand why keto is not working for them. And really, we teach you all of that during the course. And the fact is that these people they think that they're doing keto correctly, but the fact is that they are, their ratios are wrong. They're including too much fat in their diet. And we go over all of this in the masterclass. Tammy says, is keto safe to do for someone diagnosed with NAFLD? I don't want to join if it isn't good for me.
Yes. So NAFLD is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It's also called NASH, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. And actually, so fatty liver, it's also called fatty liver, is from carbohydrates. It's from sugars. So your liver is making fat out of the carbohydrate. So a low carbohydrate diet is excellent to treat fatty liver. Absolutely. So it's not only is it safe, it's particularly good to treat it.
Right. And you know, while we on that point, can you touch on, we have this every single time we have questions, is people say, is keto good for X? Is keto good for X? Is keto good for X? What we teach is really the proper way to eat correctly, which includes obviously fantastic proteins, and the balance of, vegetables, fats. And when we say vegetables, that is what we consider obviously the carbohydrates. So can you tell people, I mean, would you say that what we teach, your particular method, is unsafe for a particular demographic, or for the most part, will people see benefits and changes as they adopt this way of eating?
Yeah. So when you think of keto with real food, so I don't, you don't have to eat fats and add ketones and all that. The ketones come from your own body fat. In fact, if you don't eat anything, your body starts generating ketones. It's our default sort of metabolism when we don't eat anything. And that's called fasting, when you don't eat anything for a long period of time. So actually fat burning or ketosis or not eating carbohydrates is healthy for anyone. There's no need for anyone to eat carbohydrates. Now, a lot of people think they need to because they like it, they've had it all their lives, but metabolically there's no need. So there's no one who can't do a low carb keto diet. But that's not to say it's safe for everyone, because I worry about people who are on medications. So as I pointed out in the talk tonight, the diet, the lifestyle change is more powerful than medications. I can take someone off 10 different medicines if I teach them how to change the diet. So I don't want to be too, how should I say, too complacent and say, yeah, everyone can do this. In fact, it kind of shocks me when some doctors are on TV saying yeah, anyone can do that. No, be careful. If you're on medications and you have some underlying medical problem, you want to make sure you're doing it correctly with someone who has experience. Now, in terms of medical problems getting better, the list is huge. I showed you a subset of all of the conditions I've treated at Duke. In fact, we've learned to be able to fix things that doctors couldn't fix if they were allowing people to have carbohydrates. Well, diabetes is one of them. So the kind of rare things that get brought up, if you're unable to burn fat really well, those things usually are picked up in childhood. And so for an adult, pretty much anyone can do this, because if you have one of those congenital inherited metabolic problems, they're very rare, and you probably that was figured out when you were an infant, because the body really needs to grow. It needs to be able to burn fat. So that's an essential attribute for growing. So yeah, I know I still think, and I see why people will come to me, and I will have said online, yeah, anyone can do this, but they'll still want to know that their specific case is okay, just on the off chance that we missed something, so. But we have kind of a saying too that if I told you everything it was good for, you wouldn't believe me because it's kind of unbelievable.
Yeah.
So we kind of do a soft sell on it. But even sleep disorders will get better, and fibromyalgia and PCOS, all these things that there are really no other good answers for other than medication that can be kind of too strong. So I worry about medications as a safety thing.
Okay, that makes sense. I see that there's quite a few people that are asking questions. Do you teach this in the course? Do you teach that in the course? I would say to everybody to go and check out the sales page. It's the course page, I should say, the course sales page, which is where you can learn about the course and enroll in the course if you're interested. And that's on adaptyourlifeacademy.com. As I said earlier, there's a tab right up at the top that says Keto Course. There's a countdown timer, and then there's a Learn More button. You can either push the Keto Course or you can click on the Learn More button, and it'll actually tell you everything. I'm actually on here right now. So let me just click on Keto Course and go through it with you just super quickly. So I just want to go down. It actually tells you who teaches the masterclass, what you learn in the masterclass, what you will get out of the masterclass, and then how do I know if the masterclass is for me. So it's definitely worth going to check that out. And that should answer some of your questions. Now, I know as well that there's a huge mindset component, Doc. A lot of people have tried, including me. I mean, I'm an ex-binge eater. I'm going on to my 5th year of your method this year, this February, in actual fact. I'll be number 5. Wow, that's a whole nother conversation. But over time, I mean, what would you say the support that we give in the 3 weeks of support in the group as well as in the lessons? Can you tell everybody what we talk about in terms of changing mindset? Do you teach this in the course? Some people know already what to eat, but they keep making bad choices due to anxiety and depression.
Sure. Well, there's so many things that happen beyond just the food itself. I mean, yeah. So it's a simple list of foods that we go over and we teach from that, but there's so many things we have to help you unlearn or learn a new way of listening to your body's signals for the signal to eat. So you don't let yourself eat because of an app or because it was time to eat or because you thought breakfast was the most important food or meal of the day. I mean, you got to unlearn all of those things. So we'll take you through that mindset change and give examples of other ways of doing it. But social eating, emotional eating, the cravings and urge to eat go away remarkably fast when you take away the foods that cause the craving. So, if you think about it, if you smoke, you crave cigarettes, but if you don't smoke, you don't crave cigarettes. So I don't crave fruit because I don't eat fruit. And I know that might shock you, yeah, but so once you get away from the food that makes you crave that food, things settle down and you're not going to be using those foods for emotional eating, for stress eating. And it's amazing how fast that changes. But you have to be very strict. So we're going to be very honest and upfront. You have to get into the fat burning mode so that you kind of calm down all those other cravings and worries and emotional eating kind of just fades away. Or you emotionally eat foods that have no carbs as a method of temporarily, having that behavior of consuming something. So, I mean, but that might not be the right fit for you. It might be a different kind of stopgap measure. But, the underlying idea of sugar addiction and getting you off an addictive drug is real for a lot of people. We've learned that if you've had to, resort to watching this and you're curious and you want to know more about it, it's very high likelihood that you have a sugar addiction, even, not just a problem or hard to manage, but a sugar addiction. And you might have to just learn to understand that as a management for the long term. But I think the 3-week Facebook group where we're able to be one-on-one is kind of amazing, because what we've seen is that some people are very active. In fact, you can post as many times a day as you want and get information. And then people are generally asking the similar types of questions, getting similar, you'll learn from other people. And then there's some people that don't post at all. They're learning, so you can be involved as much as you want or as little as you want, and still learn from the supportive environment of a group we're 100% committed to get this to work for you.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, so I am one of the admins. All of the admins have been working with Dr. Westman for years and years and years. So we are very well versed in this lifestyle. Many of us have had addiction problems, binge eating problems, and other problems. And so we can definitely give firsthand advice. And we're with you in the group Monday through Friday. In fact, our admins are even posting and liking posts, etc., on weekends. And then Dr. Westman is in the group on Mondays at 8 p.m. and Amy's in the group on Thursdays at 8 p.m. and that's 8 p.m. Eastern. But everything that we do inside the group in terms of the live sessions are all recorded, and we send them to you via email the following day as well. Or you can go into the group and check them out, if you can, to join the live, because we have people here from all over the world. And we typically have anywhere between 500 to 780 students per cohort. But we're very active in the group. It's me, Jenny, Kyle, Amy, Dr. Westman, Yale, and Glenn. So that's kind of all of us. And then, gosh, this, yeah, you guys will as soon as if you purchase the course, you will get instructions on what to do next. So I don't want you to worry about anything, but we will give you instructions. And that kind of leads me to the next question, where some people want to know, do they have to have a Facebook account? Because a lot of people don't have Facebook and don't want to have Facebook in order to take the course. And what I want to say is absolutely not. You can still get huge benefit from taking the course, because you get immediate access to your student portal that has all the lessons and the modules right away. And then we, as I just said, will send the live sessions to you via email the following day. So it is not mandatory to have a Facebook account, although it is definitely giving you the best course experience if you do, because there's a lot of camaraderie and teamwork that goes into the group. And we would highly recommend you do join. A lot of our students have even opened a Facebook account specifically for that reason, and then they've closed it again. So that's totally up to you. Let's see. Susan says, if you sign up for the course, does the info go away after 3 weeks? No, it does not. Or will you be able to access for reference later? Absolutely, Susan. Once you've purchased the course is yours. You will be able to get into your portal anytime, even after the 3-week period. Let's see. I don't know how you pronounce your name. Teague? I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Teague. Can a person with an original diagnosis of type 2 diabetes become a type 1? Doc?
It's rare, but some people are living long enough so that they have pancreatic burnout. And so it's not very common, but it's possible.
Yeah, I've never ever heard of that before. I've only heard of, type 2 diabetes is developed over time. And type 2 diabetes is something that you can reverse, whereas type 1 diabetes is not something that you can reverse.
Right. So no, but if the pancreas burns out over time,
Yeah.
the type 2 becomes a type 1, and
Oh,
the confusion comes in, and I've been dealing with this in the clinic recently, where other doctors are pushing insulin so hard that it's suppressing your pancreas from making insulin. So there may be a false belief that you're always going to need insulin, and they might even say you have type 1, when really you don't. You're actually suppressing your insulin by giving insulin. But so this is kind of the advanced course of you want to talk to someone who's used to using low carb keto diets. If you're being told you have to be on insulin forever and you're type 2, you want to just consult with someone who has a different perspective.
okay. Pamela wants to know, I have high cholesterol and my PCP strongly recommended a statin, very resistant to my insistence to try non-prescription approach. Will this be covered in Keto Made Simple?
Absolutely. Yeah. And so you have to understand that that's what doctors are trained to do.
Yeah.
Just to give medication. But there are many other ways to go about things. So like lifestyle. And for most people, counter to what you think, actually eating a high-fat keto diet will fix the cholesterol problem for most people. Not all, and that's where we get into the metabolic syndrome way of looking at things. But I started looking at this 20 years ago, remember? And when I started the research at Duke University, and it was very counterintuitive, meaning we expected the cholesterol to go up in everyone because they're eating more fat, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And so we've published papers, and I've seen now for many, many years, things that other doctors just haven't seen, which causes conflict. But just rest assured that you can always measure these things as you go along, and lifestyle treatment is more powerful than any medication treatment we have.
Absolutely. I mean, if you've spent years doing all the right things, but you're still dealing with, excess weight, type 2 diabetes, heartburn, joint pain, fatigue, skin problems, this course is for you, for sure. Edith says, why do blood thinners and blood pressure meds cause weight gain? Is it in the ingredients?
Blood
thinners
and blood thinners, I don't think they do cause weight gain. I'm sorry. I don't,
okay.
Unless you have a specific drug in mind. There's blood thinners I don't think cause weight gain. I can't think of one, but blood pressure medicine, there's a theoretical reason that beta blockers might cause weight gain, but a keto diet that we teach is more powerful than the weight gaining effects of a blood pressure medicine. The medicines that I think of as the ones that cause weight gain are medicines like insulin, medicines like steroids, like prednisone pills, or shots in the joints, or Flonase nasal spray up the nose can actually cause weight gain. Gabapentin is a neuropathy pain medicine. The antipsychotics or antidepressants, the mental health medicines can cause weight gain. But I don't think of the blood pressure or blood thinner medicine for weight gain.
Somebody else Lee actually says, is the keto diet good for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth?
So SIBO or SIBO.
Yes.
Yeah, because it reverses so many different things.
Right.
And actually, that's a tough condition to diagnose, actually. It's very, very uncommon, but I know on the internet, there are a lot of people that talk about it, and left and right. The keto diet, as we teach it, real food based, will fix just about every GI problem, heartburn, indigestion, irritable bowel syndrome. one of the more common things is you go to the bathroom less often. If you have constipation, we have remedies for that, including electrolyte replacement like magnesium. I can't give you a study specifically for SIBO being reversed, but just about every other medical GI problem is fixed.
When does the support group start? So basically, as I mentioned earlier, enrollment is open through the 10th, from the 5th to the 10th. Then we close the doors, and our team is trying to get everybody into the Facebook group. There's onboarding questions, etc. And we have a welcome party on January 12th. So 2 days after we close enrollment, on January 12th, we have the welcome party inside the group, and that's basically day one of your support. So what happens is, for example, if you purchase the course right now, you will get an email with a link that you can actually get into the Facebook group right now. But there are rules inside the Facebook group that until we get there on January 12th, we want you to engage with each other, get to know each other, but no questions, no keto questions or course-related questions are allowed to be asked in the group until we get in on January 12th. And then, you will get a full email with all the next steps once you purchase. And it'll be super exciting. I promise you. You will absolutely love it. How do I enroll in the course? Go to adaptyourlifeacademy.com and click on Keto Course or the Learn More button, I should say. What about vitamins and minerals we need from fruits and vegetables, Doc?
You get them in the other foods. So there's nothing in the fruits that is not in the other food. And you do get vegetables. So it's not a concern.
Okay. Sam says, I lost 5 kilograms. So I would imagine, I don't know, Sam, are you in South Africa? Where I'm from, we do kilos there. I don't know, maybe at London, I think kilos is also done in Britain. I lost 5 kilograms in 10 days when I started keto, but not losing any more weight for 3 weeks. 5 kilos in 10 days is a lot of weight. How do I fix it? And that's going to be difficult to answer because it really depends on what keto method you were following. He wanted to know, should he do 18-6 intermittent fasting? But that's difficult to say. We don't really suggest fasting, especially in the beginning. Right, Doc? Can you add anything to that?
Right. Well, because keto is such a non-specific term, and because intermittent fasting doesn't say anything about what you're eating, it's just the time delimiting of when you eat. We need to go from the basics, the square one. Here's the way to think about things, and then so it's really impossible for me to take a stab at this, take a stab at that, take a stab at that, and then because I'll do this with people, and then they'll come in and they'll be pulling out the medium chain triglyceride oil or the apple cider vinegar from their backpacks, and they never told me they were having it. And so I can give you, left, right, and we'll try this, try that. But what I'd rather do is teach you the method that we know is going to work for you, and save you time, so you're not looking around on the internet trying to look for the one fix. So one of the first things I ask now is, where did you learn your information? And if someone says, well, my friend or the doctor who's selling all this stuff on the internet, well, consider the source of the information. Get the information from someone who's been using it for a while, who's seen it work in so many different people like we have, Although there are a lot of ways to do it, and what's really nice is that keto can be done in so many different ways that it is effective for many, many different people without having to take the advanced courses. So if it's working for you, great. But if we're having to try to troubleshoot, we need to know what you're eating. It reminds me being on a radio show once in South Africa. It was in Joburg, and someone was calling in saying keto wasn't working, and I'm across the radio bench with the radio announcer, and we're looking at each other, and I have learned to say, well, oh, you're doing keto. Well, what are you eating? And the person says, well, I'm not having this. No, tell me what you're eating, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And the person said, well, in the morning I'm having fruit and having an orange and oatmeal. And even the radio announcer looked at me across the way and said, that's not keto, aloud, but voiced it too. So how the term has to be put into foods, and the right focus should be on getting protein first, not adding fats and oils and keto products. And I even learned recently there's someone who says that keto causes bad things, but if you take my tonic, you won't get the bad things, which is a total sham, because the diet itself wasn't causing those bad things, but the person was just trying to get you to buy their product.
It's very sad.
We're not selling products. We want to give you the right information, the knowledge to do it on your own without products.
Absolutely. And how many people have come to us throughout all the cohorts saying, I thought I was doing it correctly.
Right.
I was doing X, I was doing Y, and I couldn't lose the weight, or I couldn't do this, or it just wasn't working, or I couldn't get my cravings to go away, or I felt hungry all the time. We get this all the time. So what you are going to get from us, besides the course and your own online portal with the video lessons and everything inside of the course, which, by the way, you would get immediately. So if you purchase the course right now, you literally get access to the course immediately. And then it's only the support portion of the class that we start on January 12. But the support that you get from our entire team during the 3-week period is really there to set you up for success. And that's the reason why we do the course this way, and we give the 3 weeks of support, which we, by the way, don't know of anybody else that's doing it this way, because we absolutely want to make sure that you understand how to do this on your own, and what to do when the 3-week period is over, how to move forward, how to sustain, how to change your mindset, and we work with you during this 3-week peried. So I think
another way to look at it is if you play tennis, you play golf, you might not have ever taken lessons, and you have fun, you out there, but there may come a time when you have the time to take a few lessons from a pro. The pro doesn't go out and help you unless you pay them a little bit. They're watching you, but depending on where you are, where you've been, this is a lot easier than learning to play tennis or golf. We are going to help you understand how to do it, but give you the fundamentals, and that's generally what these lessons do. Is you learn the right swing. You erase some of the bad habits that you've gotten into with any sort of teaching program. And that's what we do for keto, and really teach you basic nutrition that even medical students and doctors don't get, which is kind of sad, but that's the reality we're in. It's a medication prescription medical care in today's world. But so you might think of this as just coming to take some lessons.
Absolutely. And, a lot of our students, I would say most of our students, in fact, take the course because there's so much conflicting information out there, and we can totally understand. And this is why we created the course in the first place, is because we can totally understand, why you're confused. Because we would also be confused, if we didn't know where, there's all these groups on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube, and everybody's an expert. Everybody's a keto expert these days, So this is exactly why Dr. Westman created this course, because we're setting the record straight. We're getting you back to basics. What we do works. It is all science-based, and there are no sort of pie in the sky, anything that we sell. You will 100% be getting and doing keto the right way after this. Let's see. Susan says, suggestions for continued cravings, even though strictly adhering to the diet. And again, Susan, we don't know what that means, strictly adhering to the diet. Also get very tired and sleepy after each meal, which doesn't sound right, Doc. That doesn't sound right.
Sounds like some carbs are in there.
That sounds like some carbs. And again, some people, think that they're not having carbs when in actual fact they are. So these are exactly the things that we troubleshoot during the course. It's very difficult to just, give a broad answer unless we know the details. Let's see. Alexa says, what is the best blood test for your overall health? She goes to an endocrinologist who takes her blood work. Her protein is always low, and she's told that it has something to do with keto. She has lymphedema. So basically, she wants help with, yes, we can help you with a course. She said that if I take the course, absolutely. But getting back to her question, what is the best blood test you would suggest for overall health?
Oh my, yeah. I don't think there is one, because there are different metabolic pathways, and most doctors will check an array of blood tests at an annual physical, for example. I don't think there's just one thing. So you want to look at the blood counts, to look at the blood cell function, whether there's anemia or not, the metabolic panels. Look at kidney function and liver function and electrolytes, which have to do with sodium, potassium, that sort of thing. I don't think, and then, with diabetes and prediabetes, the blood sugar, the insulin level, for inflammation, the C-reactive protein is one that can be checked, but it's not really a great test. But so this is why we a great test, meaning not a specific test. It can be elevated for many different reasons, the C-reactive protein. But I don't think there is one, or let's say you got a panel of medical experts, no one would agree that there's just one best test. So there are a bunch that we test.
I can answer the next question. Ember Lee, are there scheduled lives? In the course, we spoke about this a little earlier. Yes, the 3-week support portion of the class has scheduled lives every week with Dr. Westman and Amy on 2 separate days, Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m., all of which are recorded. If your time zone is one that you can't watch at that particular time, 8 p.m. Eastern US time, then it will be sent to you via email the following day, so you can watch it on the replay. You do not need to log in at certain times. So there's 2 components to the course. One is the login to your student portal, and that you can log in anytime, any day, forever. And you will have your course materials and your resources available to you. The other component is inside of the Facebook group, which is a student-only Facebook group. And that starts on January 12th. And there's a lot of different stuff that we do in the Facebook group. We have weekly schedules, and we have weekly lives, and we have PDFs that we share with you, helpful PDFs and helpful tools, etc., every single week until the support is over. So you don't have to worry about logging in at specific times. And even if you do miss any of the lives, you will be sent them via email the following day. I think we're coming up to the end. Marissa says, question, whole foods plant-based? This is encouraged by cardiologists after an MI. Plant-based diet has its health benefits. I'm not sure your keto with its effectiveness on weight loss has its benefits. Okay, so they both have its benefits. Question, is keto not so plant-based still a primary consideration for patients after an MI? This is sorry, Marissa, I don't think
I think I know, or I can understand. So there are a lot of doctors who think one thing is the only thing that fixes things. So there's some doctors who will tell you that you have to have a plant-based diet. It's kind of a fad going through the medical world at the moment. And not a lot of great studies on it, so that's disconcerting to me because I'm really evidence and science based. There was another question I saw scroll through. This group called Lifestyle Medicine, and they have a textbook, is predominantly a plant-based kind of organization in terms of their dietary approach. There are no head-to-head studies of keto plant-based versus plant-based, or keto, which is meat-based versus plant-based. You can do a keto vegetarian diet, and there are cookbooks for this. What we teach is more of an omnivore sort of program. If you just ate eggs and vegetables, it can work, but it's a little more restrictive if you're doing vegetarian approach, which is why we teach the omnivore it allows you to have meat, poultry, fish, eggs, that sort of thing. It really kind of shocks me how forcibly that some doctors will push a plant-based diet. And I think the reason for that is more on religious and ethical grounds than scientific grounds. And so you just got to be aware that there's more than one way to go about things.
Right. Yeah. Joanna says, my bone density is low. PCP wants me to eat 800 IU of vitamin D and 1200 milligram of calcium from diet daily. Is that possible on keto?
Well, so you may need supplementation for that, regardless of what diet you're doing. So my training and teaching is that for any kind of bone mineral problem, you need protein. Protein comes first, so that you can, if you don't have good protein to support your bones, all those other things won't stay in. Is another 100%. Way to think about it.
And again, people, I know I keep harping on this, but people come to us all the time saying, but I thought that keto was moderate protein or low protein, and I thought that you had to eat all of those fats to be on keto. And that's not the case. That's not what we teach. That's not the case. I shouldn't say that's not the case. That's not the case specifically for weight loss.
Well, you already have plenty of fat on your body that we want you to eat.
Exactly.
Not from here, we want it to come off your belly and your hips.
All right. So let's wrap up. I've got sort of one more or two more quick questions. So is the KMS course for beginners only? And the answer is absolutely no. It's really the perfect fit for anyone who wants to either if you just want to get started, or if you have developed secondary conditions or you have weight to lose. But it will also be very helpful for more experienced keto followers who are just looking for a refresher and wanting to get back to basics and doing it the correct way. So this really will just provide a solid foundation and understanding of the keto diet, of Dr. Westman's specific keto diet that will leave you feeling fantastic, and you will be able to move forward with this long term. And then the last question is, will methotrexate slow down my weight loss?
No, I don't think so. I've had probably a dozen people with problems being treated with methotrexate, and this kind of program will help you lose weight even if you're taking it. If you're taking some of those conditions, you'll also be taking prednisone or other steroids, and that makes it slow down. But even up to like 40 milligrams of prednisone a day, I can get weight loss for most people, because this kind of dietary approach is that strong, that prescription strength.
Yeah. All right. Well, in closing, I mean, we are super excited for this next cohort. If you want to learn more about the class, or the course, I should say, or if you want to enroll in the course, please go to our website, adaptyourlifeacademy.com, and click on Keto Course. We are open until January 10, and then we get started on January 12. And we are very excited to have all our new students with us. We get excited with every single cohort. That's why we have a welcome party for you on January 12 in the group. And we're just looking forward to seeing you and working with you and being with you and getting to know you and helping you. And we can't wait. Thanks, Doc.
Thanks so much, and Happy New Year, Liza.
Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to everybody.
I really look forward to helping you all watching to get started and help you learn what I've learned from so many other doctors and patients coming through. I feel like I'm just passing along a baton to help you learn what I've learned and to get you going on your path to better health.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Doc. Really appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night or day wherever you are. Bye.